Alright, let's take a look at a different example. We are working with a Lydian mode here, a major mode, compared to the minor mode we had before. This is a major mode. Let's quickly take a look at what's going on. We have this arpeggio pattern here again. Our root is F in this case, even if we have some bass changes down here. We're focusing on this part with the root F. Let's take a look at the characteristics of this mode. This is our C major scale here. And I have a copy of the C major scale just here. And how do we get to the F Lydian mode? We need our root F, and everything else is played out by white notes, so I'm just putting these three up one octave. This is how we end up in the F Lydian mode, which is a major mode. Let's see how it compares to the C major. Putting them closely together here so we can easily see the differences. You see there's no difference between the first three scale degrees, but then we have F in C major and we have this F sharp up here. And everything else remains the same. So this is the difference. This is what defines the Lydian character in this case. The raised fourth scale degree. And in this case, if we remained down here with C as our root, it would be the C Lydian mode. If we're now going back to putting it up to F as root note, and as we said, the defining character comes from the fourth scale degree. In this case, it's note B. It's just a wanted coincidence that it's going to be the same note again, like in the D Dorian example we had before, but it's not always going to be B what defines your mode. It's just coincidentally the same for D Dorian as it is for F Lydian. Alright, so let's go back into our example and see how this defining B note behaves. And I'm going back into the example. You see it's playing up here and it's playing down here. So we have it 2 times within our arpeggio. And well, it sounds very stable in the Lydian mode here. So this is actually a good way maybe to start an arpeggio for an electronic song with long monotonic parts, for example. You could absolutely start this way. Now you could ask yourself, is it also fine to compose using several modes or different modes and going back and forth between them? That's going to be possible. You just need to figure out what kind of mode works well with what other kind of mode. Now, if we are taking this structure here, we were talking about D Dorian mode before, the minor mode, and that one is just simply using all the white notes as well, so we could try to figure out how D Dorian works with this structure here, and just pick the root note and take it down to D for D Dorian and see what that sounds like. So we see for this type of music, in this case something trancey, we can conclude that after playing around with these two modes, also with other modes, The Lydian one offers a nice atmosphere and we could go on writing in this mode. But we could also go on switching back and forth between Dorian and Lydian, and it's also nice. These modes offer a great way of figuring out what type of mood we want to set, for example, in our intro of a song or in our main part or in the drop part. Some will sound more resolved and some will sound more tense, but you have a good way of, just what kind of mood do I want to set? And you just play around with the root note here and try to, what is it with C or with A? Of course, the harmonic structure always changes and you're also entering different modes if you keep playing out for that long. But you have a good tool here to set the mood, and that's important. That's especially important for electronic music where we can have quite long and repetitive song parts of monotony. And for example, in intro parts of your club mix for your track, where you have 1.5 or 2 minutes of intro, so DJs can mix back and forth between two tracks and establish a new track coming up. You can use these modes. For example, we could start with D here in the intro part. Put our intro like that, and then when we enter our break part or our drop part, we're changing from this Dorian now into the Lydian mode, and we're going out playing like that. Different part, more drum elements and maybe more strings or something, and then feeling changes. So you had this atmosphere in the beginning and this emotion, and then all of a sudden you're dropping and you're breaking and you change it into a different emotion. So you could form a surprising element by playing your rather monotonous intro in Dorian and then switch to Lydian in the breakdown or in the main drop parts. Very nice tool for this type of music, but it also, of course, it works for rock music or pop music just as well, where you have guitars playing those arpeggios. And we don't even have to talk about playing arpeggios. It's just a very nice way of showing the modes because we can easily use a lot of the notes contained within the modes in a very short amount of playtime.